So welcome everybody to our CPD office hours session. We're running these every month. We started in September, where we're focusing in on a Salesforce product or feature that we feel is very valuable to the ecosystem to kind of upskill you, help you get new things on your CV, help you enhance your knowledge and your confidence, whether you're looking for a job or in the workplace. There's always things to learn, and in true Supermum style, and I think I do this more for myself than perhaps for what other people might need, is that accountability thing, because we can live in a world of a bit of overwhelm of like, what do I do next? What do I learn? So we wanted to kind of provide an ongoing learning journey for a lot of our alumni that go through our admin course and consultancy skills course, etc., to say, right, guys, every month we'll focus in on a certain product or feature and keep you in the know about it. And so this month we're looking about how to enhance the Sales Cloud using some of the features that Conga provide. So they're going to do a bit of a deep dive into that, talk about why and how this can be valuable to a business and the ROI that can come from it, but also do a bit of a demo on that. And then they'll talk about their free certification. And one of the things that I've been sharing on social media this week also is that one of the things I found when I was interviewing candidates is they had very little knowledge of third-party apps, because quite often maybe where they've worked before, they didn't have third-party apps, they didn't need them, or they couldn't sell them to their employer. And so I think it's really valuable to have this opportunity to just spend an hour and then doing the further follow-on certification to kind of just build up your knowledge of different third-party apps, because that stands you in really good stead if you're going for job interviews, or indeed having to sort of sell it into an employer as something to do. So I'm going to be handing over to Conga to do more of a deep dive into this. Sales Cloud is like the #1 solution still in the marketplace that Salesforce provides. So it is, but some of the products and features that we're talking about today isn't just relevant to Sales Cloud, it's solutions that you could use on different objects and different clouds also. So I'll let them, the team, Michelle and Sophie, talk more about that. I say one of the things I'd encourage you to do, and I'm going to look to do as well, is complete the Conga certification. It takes about 6 hours to kind of work through and just get your hand around it. It's one of the first products I learnt, and certainly been the one that's longest around in the marketplace, well established, and one that is commonly used in different companies. I'll let Conga talk about their vast audience. So it's a very well-renowned one. And it's great to just kind of get that on your resume or LinkedIn as well. Just before we go on to that, just to let you all know, if you've got any of yourselves or any friends or colleagues that are looking to do a Supermums course, we do them around admin, consultancy skills, which is business analysis, agile project management and change management skills, as well as DevOps. And also marketing cloud courses. We've got our Black Friday discount of 15% off our courses between the 25th and 29th of November. So we always see this as a very good time where people jump in and sort of plan for 2022 and get signed up to their course to look forward to. So if you know of anybody looking to get on one of our courses, then that's just to make you aware that we've got that offer happening right now. So I'll hand over to Michelle first, and she tell you more about. Let me stop sharing my screen. You should be able to share your screen, Michelle.
Yep. Okay.
If you've got any questions, please do put them in the chat as we go, and then we can pick them up along the way.
Right then. Okay, thanks, Heather. So hello, everyone. Thank you for joining today. My name is Michelle Brennan, and I work on the Learning Services team here at Conga. I also have Sophie Mayer, who's on the call with me as well, and she works on our sales engineering team. So first of all, I'd just like to say we're really excited to see you all on the call today, and really pleased to be working with Supermums on this programme. Before Sophie shows you a demo of our products, I just want to talk to you about who are we at Conga and what is our mission. So at Conga, we're here to help customers transform their day-to-day commercial operations. And we are committed to customer success around that digital transformation. We do this in many ways, such as through our document-based automation tools. So this is helping customers digitalize all their business documents, such as proposals, case studies, onboarding documents, invoices and quotes, and so much more. And we empower them to make all of those documents accurate, on brand, and easily available to the right team at the right time. We then have our contract and lifecycle management solutions. So what this does is this allows customers to manage key processes, such as creating contract documents, sending those contracts out for negotiation, and making sure that when they send those contracts out, they have the right terms and conditions on the contract. And also they have access to their repository, the clause library that looks after all of their legal language. The contract and lifecycle management solutions also ensure that approvals are sent to the right people at the right time, all while helping keeping companies compliant and transparent. We then have the most important business process, and that is the entire end-to-end revenue operations process. So during this process, teams can easily produce accurate proposals, quotes, contracts, billing, and also manage their renewals and all the customer lifecycle management processes. And this really does create that truly connected customer experience. Sorry. So we understand that businesses run on thousands and thousands of different types of documents, and different industries have different document needs for their businesses. So in Sophie's demo today, she's going to show you Conga Composer, and that's the product that Heather just spoke about. It's a great one to get started with. And Conga Composer is designed to handle use cases across many different industries. This slide is to illustrate the breadth of use cases we can handle in multiple industries. Of course, there are lots more documents that Composer can produce. So this is just really to give you an example of the most common ones by industry. And the ones in bold indicate the sales related or the most frequently used documents. So these are the types of documents that people like Sophie at Conga are out there building for our customers on a daily basis. So looking at this slide, you can see it's the quotes, proposals, order forms, and invoices. So what I'll do now is I'm now going to hand over to Sophie, and she will demo the products Composer, Grid, and Sign. And all of these products, they sit in our documents pillar. So this is the pillar that Sophie will be demonstrating today that works really nicely with Sales Cloud. So Heather, are you okay if I stop sharing? And actually, Sophie, you should be able to share now.
Yes, that's right. I can jump in and share my screen. So hi, everyone. Great to meet you all. So I'm Sophie. I'm a solutions engineer here at Conga. So I've been with Conga now for coming up to 3 years. So I started as an associate solution engineer, my first job as an SE, or first job in sales actually as well. So yeah, really enjoying it. We are hiring at the moment. So if you like what you see today and you're interested, please contact me or apply on our website. Cool. So what I will do now is I will go ahead and share my screen and we can jump into the demo. Okay, so you should all be looking at Salesforce homepage. So essentially, the way that we like to sell Conga is that we are an extension of Salesforce. We are never leaving the platform in order to use our products. Everything is happening within the system. Okay, and I'm using the Lightning UI, but we do support Classic and Lightning. Okay, so just to set the scene in terms of what we're going to be looking at today, you can see that I'm logged in as a user within Salesforce. I've got a custom app, and this is the company that I'm working for in this persona, which is BlueCube. Okay, on the homepage at the moment, I'm using Sales Cloud, but we support any Salesforce Cloud product and any standard or custom object. You can absolutely use our products within them. Okay, so first product we're going to be looking at today is Composer. I guess that's our bread and butter product, right? This is the product that all our customers love. And there are two ways that we can generate documents within Salesforce. The first one is through a feature called Global Merge. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start that process by clicking on this button. Now this is going to start the merge process, meaning that we are now going to generate a document based on me clicking on that button. And what this is doing is the system is grabbing all of the record IDs from Salesforce, and it's going to populate a PowerPoint style of document for me. Now, the reason why we've got two different ways of creating documents is because we can base that process on an individual record, or we can do it on this level by grabbing all of the information from Salesforce to produce one document. So a use case around this using this global merge functionality would be if you needed to create a document and send some information to a user that doesn't have Salesforce, but by sending a document, they obviously can see that information. Okay, so we support PowerPoint, Word, PDF, Excel, HTML as our email and templates, email templates and document templates. You know, we can configure the system however our customers want to use it. And while that's still loading, just to point out here on the left-hand side, I've got a report available in front of me, composer documents sent to customers. So based on the different type of document that I've created, in this case, here I've got an order form, a letter, a contract, a proposal, statement of work contract, all of these different types of documents, we can, you know, use the information in the system to create these reports out of that data. Okay, so that document has just downloaded. So let me go ahead and open that up. Great, so this is now a composer generated document. So anywhere where we see my name, Sophie Mayer, this is dynamic information. This is coming from my user record as the person who clicked on that button. We've got, of course, today's date, and then things like the colorful background, that is all the branding that sits within the template. So moving on to the data that we have on the record, and this second slide, what I'm doing here is I'm grabbing all of my opportunity records. So in Sales Cloud, I think I have over 2,000 records. And I'm now grouping that information. So based on the different stage of all of those opportunities, I'm showing that within this chart. So it's really easy and clear to understand. And I'm also reporting on how much value is associated to those opportunities. So it's about taking large quantities of data and applying something like a PowerPoint template to easily show that based on the information in Salesforce. So just moving on through to the third slide. So now I'm looking at close won opportunities. So this time I'm not telling Composer to show everything in the system. I'm asking Composer to show me the most recent close won opportunities and group that information by 5. So here we're showing the ability to manipulate the way the data is being pulled through into a document for us. And then same again, but this time for closed lost opportunities. And then finally, I'm looking at the amount of tasks that are created within the system, within Sales Cloud. So those that are open and those that are closed. Okay, so that was the first use case around Composer, and that's the first way we can generate documents. So the second way is based on an individual record. So we can go through that process now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into an opportunity record. So I'm going to be using this top record as the example. So in this scenario, we can see that we've got our customer, Tesla, against the record, and we have Mr. Musk, who is our primary contact. So what we'll be doing is creating a document based on the values of the record. So in this scenario, I'm going to be pulling through all of these fields from this record, and we'll see that in the document. I'm not taking the information, copying it, and pasting it into another document. All we care about at this point is making sure that the data that is existing within the fields is correct, because that is the exact information that Composer is going to pull through into the document. Okay, if I jump into the related tab, what we're doing here is we're going to be pulling through the products, so the opportunity products associated to the product, to the opportunity. So this is demonstrating the ability to grab information from other objects within Salesforce. We aren't limited just to the master object, which is the opportunity in this example. We're reaching through, grabbing the product information. You know, if I wanted to grab information from CPQ quotes, I can absolutely do that. We can set up the system exactly how the customer wants it. Okay, so just on the right-hand side, you can see I've got this Conga document generation. So this is just a Lightning component that comes with our package. And I've got 2 buttons. So one is generating a proposal and one is sending out a sales document. So I'm going to be focusing on this button here, generate proposal and e-sign, because what we can do now is we can look at how we can include e-signature and embed that into the solution itself. So I'm now going to start that process by clicking on that button. And as the system says, it's gathering a template that is associated to that button I've just clicked, and it's going to merge all of that information from Salesforce and push it into a document. Now, I don't have any files against the record, and I don't have any Conga signed transactions. So this is a brand new record that we'll be using as part of that process. In a moment, what we'll see is a screen called Preview and Tag that relates to the Conga Sign UI. Now, we can set up our solutions in different ways. The user doesn't need to look at the Preview and Tag screen or look at the document before they send it out for e-signature. We can set up solutions entirely how customers want to use them. So maybe you just want to click the button once. That's your entire interaction with the entire process. You don't need to look at the document. Or we can jump through different screens in order to start that process. Okay, so first thing that's happened is the composer element has completed. So I've now got a PDF document available against the records. That's the first part. And then below that, what we're looking at here is the details around the Conga sign transaction itself. So starting from the top, we've got Mr. Musk. He's our primary contact against our opportunity record. So we've dynamically pulled his name through. We've got myself as the user because we obviously clicked the button as myself. And then I have Max, who has also been pulled into this transaction. So Max's role is slightly different. His role within the transaction is CC. So that means that Max won't be signing the document, but he'll receive a copy of that document once the transaction has completed. Okay, I also have a signing order that's automatically been switched on. This is because I've told Composer to do it once the document has been created. And if I want to change the order, I just need to hold down on the context name, but I'll keep our customer at the top here. So this means that the customer needs to sign the document first before we can receive the document to then go on and sign it. Okay, all three of us exist in Salesforce as contacts, but we don't need to have a contact in the system in order to do that. We can simply click on this Create New Recipient button and fill in the details of the person who needs to sign the document. Just below that, two advanced options that we can see. So I have an email that has been pulled through, so an email message. So where we can see my name, my email address, and my phone number. This is dynamic information again, and that's being pulled from my user record. Okay, on the right-hand side, I have an expiration and reminder date. So based on me clicking the button today, the system will automatically set the transaction to expire if no one hasn't signed by that point on Christmas Eve, actually, at 3 p.m. Okay, and this doesn't need to be one single date for every type of document. We can make this dynamic based on the different types of documents that we are sending out for e-signature. Okay, so I could click Send Now and send the document straight to the customer, or I can click on Preview and Tag. So what this will allow me to do is it will allow me to preview the document so I can look at the document, and then I can also see the Conga sign tags that have automatically been added to my document. And this will allow me to drag and drop within the UI if I feel like I need to add additional tags or I need to remove some tags for my prospect who needs to sign the document. Okay, so let's start from the top. So this is the composer element, right? So anywhere where we see the words Blue Cube or Tesla, this is dynamic information that's coming from Salesforce, from the opportunity record and the user record. And then things like the bright yellow word proposal and the black and white image sitting in the background, this is all the branding that's sitting within the template level. Here we can see we've got the address of our customer. So we started at the opportunity level, but then we reached into the account to pull through the information. So again, showing how we can grab information from different areas within Salesforce to produce a document like this. This page is just a static page, so this means it lives in the template and never changes, but it's just to show, I guess, more branding that we can apply to our document. Now we're pulling through images, so an image of myself that's come from my user record, and we have those two fields that were sitting on the opportunity itself, so we're grabbing the information from that record. Okay, so below that, what I'm looking at here is the products. So these are the products that relate to the opportunity. So what I'm doing here is I'm simply adding through the products, and based on what I've defined in the template, that's what we can see. So in this scenario, I can see the name, the image, the category, the code, and then the price over here. And then the final amount just below that. So as I keep scrolling, I now have the same set of products from the first table, but this time I'm telling Composer to group the information. So 1 to 5 user training and 6 to 25 user training both belong to this product family value training. So again, it's about showing the ways that we can display information and group it. We don't need to simply just pull everything through. We can define a sorting order in the way that the information comes into the document. Finally, the Conga sign element. It's the same logic as fields that we're embedding. So here again, dynamic field, we're just embedding those e-signature tags into our template to pull through that information. Now, I don't need to do this. I can simply drag and drop, and we can absolutely do that here. So very simple, just select the tag that you need. If I want to change who I'm adding a tag for, again, absolutely can do that. I can click on the person's name. This is going to change the color of the tags for me, so I know who I'm adding an additional tag for. And then I can go through that process again and tag the document that way. Okay, so all of the tags underneath this basic column here, these tags come within the Conga sign package. So when you download this from the App Exchange, all of these tags will be available to use. But should someone want to use a tag which isn't standard, i.e. they need to capture some information from their customer, we can do that. So in my scenario, I have a PO number field. So this is just a standard custom text field. So once we go through the process of signing the document, we'll see that information being pushed back into the record on that field, as well as be recorded within the document. So what I can do now is I can go ahead and send out that transaction. That takes me back to where we started, but there's been a few changes on the record itself. So before we were in this current stage of waiting to generate the document, then by me clicking that button, the stage of my record has automatically been updated. I have my first version of my document saved against the record. And then just below that, I have my Conga sign transaction. So for every document that we're sending out for e-signature, there's going to be a unique record created for that document. And we'll come onto that and look at that in a little bit more detail once we've run through the process of signing the document. Cool. So at this point, what we can do is we can leave the system and we can go through the process of signing the document. So I have 2 inboxes available. One as the user who sent out the transaction. So we can see here that that's been sent to me. So think of this email as a receipt. It's just confirming that we've definitely sent out a transaction. It's pulled through the recipient email addresses, as well as added a separate line for Max, who has a separate role within this transaction. Now, remember, I set up a signing order, so I'm not going to receive a document or an email telling me that I need to sign it until the customer does that first. So now we can switch into our second inbox, putting on our customer hat. So we are Mr. Musk, we are Elon. So if I just go ahead and refresh my page, perfect. I've now got an email that's come through. And we can see we've obviously got the message, the dynamic message, and we're being told that we need to view the document and sign it. This Conga sign tag can change. We don't need to have this logo. Our customers can absolutely upload their own logos to the system to pull that through. Okay, so what I can do now is I can click on my Conga sign button. I can agree to the terms and conditions. And now at this point, we need to go through the document and read it. But think of this document as a screenshot of a PDF. So I cannot highlight any text. All I'm doing is reading the information that is presented in front of me within the document. Now, we won't go through the document again. I've already done that. So I'm going to be lazy and I'm going to click on this begin button. And that's going to take me straight to where I need to sign the document first. So if we had multiple signatures on different pages, we could use this guided signing to take us to where we need to sign. Okay, so clicking on the box, I'm now being presented with the option of how I want to add my signature. Do I want to add a style, or do I want to draw a signature? So what I'll do is I'll pick a style for this. So we've got the customer's name, we've got the title. This is information that's coming from Salesforce. We have today's date, we have this PO number field, we have our initials, and we also are being asked to upload a copy of our passport. Now I've just added my signature, but I can't complete signing. You can see up here, this box is grayed out. The reason for that is because I set up my PO field to be required. So this means I need to add some information to the box before I can successfully complete signing. Okay, so what we can do now is we can also upload additional documentation. So in this scenario, I need to upload a copy of my passport. So let me go through and find a copy of my passport. Okay, so this is just a Word document, but we do support other file types that allow people to upload additional documentation when they're going through the signing process. Okay, so that's the customer's part done in this scenario. We've added our signature, we've added the PO information, as well as our ID to the record, the document. So we're done for now. So we can switch back into the first inbox. Now, because the customer signed, we are now receiving this email telling us that we need to co-sign the document as well. Every time someone opens a document, we're being notified about when that's happening, and then we're also being notified as to when the document is being signed. It's also worth mentioning that we can turn off these notifications. So if someone's sending out a high volume of transactions, they're going to get spammed in their inbox quite a lot. So we do have the ability to turn those notifications off. That was quite a requested feature from our customers. Great. So same thing again. Jump straight to where we need to sign the document. I'll make things a bit more interesting for you guys, and I'll do an absolutely terrible signature. Apologies. You think I do better considering I do this a lot, but there we go. So now this document is legally binding. Everybody's added their signature. So what we can do is we can move back inside the platform and we'll see the changes once again from Salesforce. But just before we do that, I'm going to really quickly refresh my inbox just to show that once everybody's signed, everyone, including Max, who had that role of CC, will then receive a physical attachment of the PDF document, which has been signed. Okay, but just jumping back into the platform again, things like the stage is being updated. I've just got a simple flow that's updating the record to close one once my status of my transaction is in this complete stage. Here we've got the PO number available. So once we were signing it, that's pushed the information straight into the field for us. And then if I just scroll up, we now have the ability to look at that file, which we uploaded from Salesforce. That's available to us here. And finally, I have the copy of my PDF. Still looks like one version, but this time it's the final version that has everybody's signatures against it. Okay, so we've gone through that process of signing a document. So from a user perspective, we can look at that in a bit more granular detail by looking at the record itself. So if I click on this, it's going to show me details around what's happened. So things like start date, end date, when it was completed. But if I also just click over here on view audit, this is the legal side of it, of being a legal e-signature solution. This is the audit. So what we're looking at here is all of the actions that have been taken in place once we've gone through the signing process. So we've got a timestamp against when everything is happening. So once we signed it, when people viewed it, when an action happened. So in this case, we uploaded a file, when it was signed, and so on and so forth. This information is also available to users outside of Salesforce. If I just go back to the emails, if I wanted to view the audit as the customer, I have the ability to do that here. Okay, so that was the process of running through one transaction, one e-signature transaction. The other thing that we can touch on is dashboarding and reports. So the ability to look at multiple transactions that have been sent out. Now, these reports are available within the Conga Sign package. So when someone starts to use the package, the data will be produced within these reports. Now I can go through, and if I want to look at all of my transactions which are in this sent stage, I can interact with the report and it's going to show me a list view of all of those transactions. This is obviously my demo org, so it's just my name, but we can see the information that relates to the transactions that have been sent out. Okay, and all of these reports, they're completely configurable. You know, you can show or hide certain reports if you don't want everybody to see different transactions. They can only look at their own transactions if they need to. We can customize these however people want them to be. So that was the process of running through Conga Sign. So we've covered Conga Composer and Conga Sign. The other key part to Composer is automation. So what that means is the ability to create a document without any manual effort. So what I mean by that is if I go back to the record we started from, in order to start that process, I needed to click on the record, I needed to click on the button in order to generate a document. Now we have two automation features. One is called Conga Trigger and the other is called Conga Batch. So the first one we're going to look at is Conga Trigger. So what this means is creating a document based on a value changing in Salesforce. So for example, we could create a document as soon as information is added to a PO number. So in this scenario, if you look over here on the left-hand side, I've got this checkbox. Do you want to send a document for Conga Sign? If I mark this as yes and save the record, this is automatically going to trigger a document being created for me in the system. Now, I've obviously had to go through and manually check the checkbox, but imagine there was a process builder flow that was automatically doing this for us. It was updating the record once something happened. So once we update the record with that field value, that in turn can then go through that process for us and it can generate a document. So this checkbox is triggering the generation of not only a Conga Composer document, but also Conga Sign. So two solutions in one. Okay. Great. So that was the first piece of automation. The second piece is called Conga Batch. Now, imagine you have something like an invoice that's being sent out at a specific time on a specific day every month. And you may need to send, I don't know, 1,000 invoices. You're not going to go onto 1,000 records and click the button 1,000 times. That's just not a good use of your time. And quite frankly, you just wouldn't want to do that. So we have something called Conga Batch. So what this can do is it can send documents at a mass level. So I just search for Conga conductors. Ignore this name, by the way, it is Conga Batch, but because I'm using a demo org, it's a little bit older. So now I'm on a Conga Batch record. Think of this URL name, field name. Think of this as the button I clicked, the generate proposal and e-sign button. So this is our composer solution. And then our query ID is just defining who needs to receive a copy of the document. For example, if the record stage was in close one, pull through all of the close one records to send them a document. Below that, we have a schedule. So this is about scheduling when you want to run a batch solution. And you don't need to set up a schedule in order to use it. You can manually do it yourself. So if I click on this launch button, this is going to allow me to start the process manually in an ad hoc basis. But going back to invoices, because that is a classic use case, if you will, of when our customers are using this, or things like in the non-profit space, once someone makes a donation and the donation information comes into Salesforce and is updated on the record, that can send out a thank you letter. So that is an example of how we would use Conga Trigger. Okay, so in this scenario, I'm sending out proposals. So my output mode is email. and I'm only selecting 5 opportunities. Now I'm doing this within Composer. I'm setting up the solution to email out the document, and I'm also putting a limit on how many people need to receive this document. So again, in my Salesforce environment, I have a lot of records that are probably in this close 1 stage. So within my query, I'm just saying I want you to limit that number by 5 because this is a demo environment. We don't need to see 1,000 emails. And if you just look up here, you can see the number of emails are increasing. That's because I'm being sent documents on a mass level. So if I click into my inbox, what we can see is that the subject is changing. So this is the customer. So I'm pulling through the customer name from my record. Here we've got Tessa because the record just went into close 1 stage, but the name of the contact is changing. And if I just click on one of these emails, so now I have my email template, which is our Composer template, a summary of the products that our customer is buying, and I have a copy of the document attached to the record. So we're using the same template, but all we're doing is grabbing a different record to produce different results. So here the list of products is smaller because this record, this opportunity record, obviously has less products against it. So this is about looking at the ability to send out documents on a high level and just changing the information dynamically. So Composer's pulling through the right record details to then produce that document. Great. Okay, so batch operation completed successfully. So just to recap what we've looked at so far, so we've gone through the process of generating documents with Composer, signing a document with e-signature, looking at some automation by sending out documents on a mass level with batch, and also covering Conga trigger. The last product which we're going to cover is Conga grid. So if I just go back onto the home page and let me just scroll down, here we've got this Conga grid dashboard. So think of this as inline editing on steroids or as a Microsoft Excel document. So these are individual records within Salesforce. And what we're doing is we're not clicking new tab and opening up this record in a separate tab up here. We're actually doing inline edits, which will update the record in turn. So if I want to update all of these records, I can do that by selecting my records and mass updating. So maybe I want to change the priority from normal to low. When I click save, this will automatically update all of those records. So what should have been a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 separate tabs and 6 separate clicks to do that. I'm just highlighting the records, and here we can see that this is reflected. So now if I wanted to, I could open this up in a new tab and I will see that update within the record. We can also do things like conditional formatting. So you can see that these cells here are highlighted in this, albeit aggressive red color. If I just expand this column. Okay, follow-up proposal sent. This may be because it's past the due date, which is why I'm being notified. So in this scenario, we've gone past the date. So we need to, we need to follow up, or we need to follow up in due course because the due date is within a week, for example. So this is allowing us to conditionally format our cells, which is good for reminders. What we can see up here in the first tab that this is tasks. So I'm only seeing the tasks that are available to me, but I've also got the ability to go onto these different tabs because they represent different objects. So instead of tasks, I want to look at all of my opportunities. So I can do that by clicking on this tab. And this is now going to show me only my opportunities that are relevant for me. Okay, so if I just limit this a little bit, let's get rid of that. Great. So the way that grid is displayed can be changed. We can customize this entirely how we want. So maybe for whatever reason, I don't want to see the account name in the third column. All I need to do is just move that to wherever I need that to be. So we can change the way the views are. If I want to add additional fields, I can do that. If I want to cross objects and I want to show field names for other objects, I can absolutely do that. So I can make inline edits to related objects. So an account related to an opportunity, for example. Okay. I also have the ability to add interactive web components. So on the right-hand side here, I've got this Conga grid graph. So once I highlight these records, it's going to show me, in this scenario, we're looking at the amount and expected revenue. So if I come into here, go on to data, so grouping the information by the account name, the amount and expected revenue. So we could change this around if we want to look at different reports within the system. Okay. And again, the bar on here, we can change that. We can move this at the bottom of the page. We can move it to the left. It's entirely up to the user. If I want to change the way I'm looking at the grid view, maybe I want to group the information by the amount because that's important to me. I can take that field name, I can drag it up here. And now this is going to separate my records for me. So I'm looking at all of these 4 records, which are in this specific amount stage. In this scenario, there's nothing against them. 0 value. So this is a really good tool to use for quick inline editing, mass updating information, and looking at information proactively without having 100 tabs within your browser. You're doing everything within the system directly here. And we can apply this on a single record. So I think I've got one available under accounts. Maybe not. But imagine I had a grid view here. I had a tab. When I click this tab, it shows me grid and it shows me separate tabs for all of these different records. So instead of me having to go into here, I want to edit this. If I want to do that now, I've got to right click, open a new tab, or I've got to click on it, make the update, then go back to my account record to see that, or go back to where I started. So grid is removing that for me, that pain point. The last point I'll say on grid is that it works in conjunction with Composer and Sign. So if I wanted to create a document to send to my manager, for example, of all of the tasks that I've completed within Salesforce, I could simply highlight all of those records, right click, and I can have a Composer button based on this box here, which says generate document. So allowing me to create documents by interacting with the records that I have in grid. Cool. So I think that was it for what I had to show for the products. Michelle, is there anything painfully obvious that I missed or forgot to mention?
No, I think one thing to mention though is Composer is such a great tool as well for working with different languages. So it might be the case that you want to send, an invoice or a proposal out in French. So what you can do is not only can you tell Composer to pick up the French version of the template, but we can also translate the user experience as well. So we translate the Composer UI and also the Conga sign transaction. So it's just to let you know that it works really well in supporting other languages as well.
Really good point. I forgot to mention that. So thank you for that. So yeah, I mean, essentially, if I click on my account name, this is going to show me an address of my customer. So in this case, it's United States. So Composer can recognize this country and know that the chances are that that's going to need to be an English template. So it can dynamically pull through a different version of a template for me. We don't need to define that. It's smart enough to know that and pick up the right languages.
Have we got any questions from anyone at all?
Thank you so much for that great demo. It gets me really excited to see all the different things that you can do with the product and how you can enhance it. Well, let's just wait and see if we've got any questions coming through. I can see some coming through, which is great. I think I'll just talk a little bit from my personal experience of working with clients and using Conga. I think talking about the return on investment, some companies are always a little bit hesitant, aren't they, with third-party apps and what's the value. And I think there's kind of 3 points based on the products that you've shown, some of the real value that comes in terms of, people have said it takes us ages to produce reports and graphs, and I just love that PowerPoint where it just creates these magical graphs from the data already, and that that saves executives so much time. And if they're the ones paying for it, they're like, yeah, no problem, that's going to save me all these hours doing these reports and graphs to present to a board. It's a bit of a no-brainer. So that's kind of like the first quick win that we've always seen, is that people want to save hours on building reports and presentations, but they can do it once it's all set up properly. It can pull all that data out. I think the second we've seen is like being able to close deals faster with e-signature. I don't know about you, but obviously if somebody sends you through a document which has to be signed and then scanned and then re-uploaded, everything takes twice as long. So if you can do e-signature, it normally gets your deals closed much quicker, and then the money in the door, and that's like pretty much a very good one that I think everybody realizes from their own sort of triggers as well with that. And then the third one, I really like proposals. I think that's something that we experience writing proposals in house, is it always takes longer to write proposals, and then there might be always nuances and changes and people do it differently, whereas you've got branded deck and everything's pulled in from Salesforce. It just makes everything quicker and more consistent for everybody, so you're not having to write things in 2 different places. So I think they're the 3 quick wins that we've seen with clients that have adopted tools like this, and it normally pays for itself quite,
Exactly.
make much more money more readily, and it frees up the time of the sales team, so they're happy, right? Because they click a button rather than have to do everything manually.
That's what we like to say, the less clicks to generate a document, the better. So that's why we always push for the automation, because you shouldn't have to rely on people generating those documents. So they're good use cases, Heather.
We've
had a few questions in the chat about how to learn more about the Composer. So if I share my screen, and I'll walk you through how you can do that on our Conga Learning Centre, if that's okay. Okay, so we have 2 options for upskilling with the Composer product, and this is as of very recently. So first of all, we've got the Conga Composer Administration Certification. So this is an instructor-led course. It's a 3-day commitment. You have an instructor on hand to work with you throughout the 3 days, and you also have to work on an implementation project. We then have the Conga Composer Accreditation. Now this is big, this is new news. It's self-paced, and we think that it takes about 2 to 3 hours of time investment. At the end of that Composer learning path, you can then earn a badge. And this is available on the Conga Learning Centre, and it's free for all of you on the Supermoms programme to access it. In order to sign up for that learning path, you need to use a special code. So this is very important, because the Conga Learning Centre is for our internal employees, customers and partners. So if you do try and sign up with a Gmail or Hotmail domain, it won't allow you access. So what we've done is set up a special code that you guys can use to sign up. So the first thing to do is, when you go to the Learning Centre, you need to click on Redeem a Code. And then click on Redeem Code, and the code is Supermoms Welcome. So you then validate that code, and then it will ask you to create your account. It's then there where you can put in things like your first name, your second name, and your email address. So please, if you do sign up for the Conga Learning Centre, use that code. Once you are in the Conga Learning Centre, you'll have access to a whole host of courses in our catalogue. So let me just drag this over. I'm just going to move this out of the way. So it's from here you can filter on not only the products, but also your skill level as well. So if you want to learn more about what Sophie has gone through today, which is our most popular product, which is Composer, it's a case of clicking on the product composer in the filter, and then your learning goal. So if you want to get started, you click on the get started, but if you're more of an experienced administrator, you can go straight into our more advanced courses. Now, we have a really great learning path for Composer. So to access that getting started learning path, you just click on getting started and learning path. And this learning path, yeah, it takes about 2 hours on average to complete, but it will consist of multiple different courses. So it will talk about the button basics, how to, the different template types that we support, and how to gather the data using things like Conga queries. So for you guys that do want to learn more about Composer, I highly recommend this course. It's the Getting Started with Conga Composer Learning Path. Not only do we give you access to the courses, we also give you access to your own training environment. So what you can do from the Conga Learning Centre is you can sign up for a training org, and that training org will have all of the products that Sophie showed you today installed, and also a whole host of dummy data in there as well. And that environment will be, I think it's valid for like 60 days. When it does expire, you can just come straight back into the Conga Learning Centre again, and then spin up a new training environment. Yeah, but there's so many courses on here. We also have courses for Sign and Grid. Yeah, so I'm excited for you all to get signed up with that code. And if you've got any questions, then you can reach out to us and we'll try and answer them for you.
Thank you. I think that's been great. There's like loads of courses on there, isn't there? So that sounds like a good one to start with. And everybody seems really excited. Thank everyone in the chat for being so on board and interested in what we've been sharing today. It's very common use cases, isn't it? These products and these features is what we see quite a lot around Sales Cloud. So I think it's really great that everybody's kind of got more of an idea of what's possible, because that's half the battle, is knowing what's possible and getting that inspiration. So thank you again, Sophie, for sharing that with us today, and to Michelle for giving us a deep dive into the training centre. I have also put a chat on the Zoom chat area with the link and that code as well, so you know where to navigate to. So thank you. Any final questions or any final words from Michelle and Sophie?
No, just really to say thank you so much for letting us be part of this programme, and you know, we fully support it and enjoy working with you guys at Supermums.
Oh no, thank you. I think it's so valuable to have you know, this training and access to free training for our Supermum community, be it broad as wide as trainees and people who just get involved in this. So thank you so much for being part of this too. We're bang on 3 o'clock, so how about that for timing? Perfect timing. So thanks everyone so much. Have a lovely rest of the day wherever you are, and we look forward to seeing you next month, next CPD office.
Thanks everyone.
Thank you. Thanks. Bye.
Cheers. Bye. Bye.